Good morning. Good morning, all. Welcome to Satsang. For those of you who don't recognize the background, it's because I'm not at home. I'm in Tempe, Arizona right now, visiting my son, and I'll be here till tomorrow. And congratulations, Argentina and Lionel Messi, who's no longer in the shadow of Maradona. Yeah, I did watch the last chunk of it. I went out in the morning and but I did watch the end of it. I spent a lot of time in Buenos Aires. I had a place down there. I was married to a woman from Buenos Aires. We had a place down there, and as well as Miami. And I went back and forth. So I have a lot of friends, Argentine friends, and a lot of nostalgia for Buenos Aires. So I'm very happy for all my Argentine buddies. So on to the meat of the story. Next Sunday is Christmas Day. We won't be doing satsang on Christmas Day. So I thought I would kind of talk about one of the great world myths, and hopefully I don't offend too many Christians out there who want to believe that it's a historical event. But if it was for Christendom, then it was for Native Americans, South American natives, there's some African tribes, Indian. I mean, the idea of a virgin birth or an extraordinary birth, an auspicious birth, is a myth as old as human beings, and it has a very important message behind it, which is not that somehow the laws of the universe get set aside for a moment. What it really represents is your timeless being. It's a way of giving expression to something that can't be expressed. How do you express the timeless? Can't use music, can't use dance or any art form. You can't use language because all of that happens in time. There's no events, no ideas, no concepts, no knowledge. Nothing can express the timeless. That is, accurately, perfectly represent that which is outside of time. And so it has to be represented by some characterization, some story, some set of extraordinary circumstances that can point to that which is beyond any kind of explanation. Timeless is being. I mean, being or truth or what is or existence itself. Existence can't become non-existent. Nor is it made up of some particles, nor can it be made up of a series of events, because then it would inevitably have a beginning and ending, literally infinite numbers of beginnings and endings as the particles of the events just flow on. That which is can never be that which is not. And this is what that virgin birth actually represents. It represents your original innocence, your original being, that which was here before the body you're currently walking around in existed. There's a famous koan in Zen. What did you look like before your parents were born? And the point of it is to shake our minds out of our attachment to form, to thinking of ourselves in terms of the form. Your form, the body, the physical body, the meat suit that you walk around in is constantly replenishing itself. It's constantly changing. If that stops, it dies. I mean, that's the whole process of death, is that the process of self-replenishment begins to slow down, deteriorate, and eventually stop. We call that death. But birth and death is happening constantly. It never stops. But what isn't happening constantly? What is absolutely still? The stillness itself. Your timeless being that is outside of time. And you can get a glimpse of that, a little glimpse of that, by simply noticing that throughout your life, there has been something that hasn't changed. It's been absolutely constant. Think back to when you were 5 years old and what you were doing and experiencing, the thoughts you were having, the feelings you were having. All of that was going on. And then just see if you can tune into that the actual experience of experiencing, the sense of something there that was watching all of this happen. Consciousness, the pure mind. And notice that between then and now, the essence of it is the same. It hasn't changed. It's timeless. Time is nothing but change. That's all it is. Time is not a thing. It's not like we talk about the time like a river carrying things along, but it's not that at all, right? There's just constant change. There's this constant flow, and we measure the distance between what we would two discrete events, and we call that time. So time and events and flow and form are one thing that arises all simultaneously. There's not time and events or time and form. They are simultaneous. They happen all at once. Buddha referred to this as dependent arising. So what is that which isn't changing? Now, notice, since it's not changing, you can't conceive of it. You can't notice it. If it has no moving parts, if it's indivisible, if it's irreducible, it isn't made of something else. How do you perceive it? How do you see it? How do you know it? Well, the only thing I can do is point to the essential experience that we are all having right now. And that is the experience of your own being. The experience of your being. And just put your attention there for a moment and notice that no matter what's going on, how cluttered or calm, how fortunate or unfortunate, that at the center of it is simply a sense of my own existence. Now, did that sense of existence have a beginning? Did it have a birth? Really look closely and look not to the mind, because we assume that everything had a beginning and an end. But I'm asking you, from the point of view, really look right now at your own experience. Can you find a beginning to it? And if you found some place that was a beginning, wouldn't you have to be there and have witnessed it happening? So that witnessing didn't have a beginning. We have to assume. We can imagine that it did. We can come up with ideas that it did. But when you look closely, you find there's absolutely no evidence for it. Nobody can give a direct testimony of before or after. We can only speak of now. And then we imagine time, events playing out. And yet all you ever experience is right now. So we imagine that there was a beginning and there was an end. But what do you actually know right now? Right this moment? Can that end? Can now ever stop? These are contemplative things. These are the kind of things that you chew over, you puzzle over. Even meditation is an aid to just come to a place where you're no longer distracted by theories and ideas and concepts and assumptions. And attention becomes more and more rooted just in this sense of existence that is not changing, that you didn't create. It's there effortlessly. There's nothing you need to do to get it, and there's nothing you can do to get rid of it. It's you. It's you without anything extra added. And so the purpose of meditation is to really discipline our attention so that we are rooted in this emptiness, this place that isn't moving, that has no moving parts. It has no form. This is the actual meaning of the virgin birth, or the birthless birth, or the timeless birth. This isn't a denial of experience. It isn't a request that you don't experience anymore. Obviously, that's not possible. But what you experience is this constant flux, so constant and so fluctuating that no matter how thinly you sliced time, you would never find anything there. It would always be empty. And this is what Buddha points to when he refers to the nature of being as emptiness. It's timeless. It's not an it at all. It cannot be conceived. And yet, it's you. It's not like you have no reference point you throw out, you're just floating through space, right? There is something extremely real and extremely unchanging and solid as El Capitan, the world's largest piece of granite. And that is you, your being. And the mission here is simply purging from our minds all self-concepts that are attached to a form, that are attached to time, that are attached to space, that are attached to conditions. And then mind becomes purified. And then mind is no longer even mind. It is not the psychological mind. It is not the conceptual mind. It is the pure experience of being. Pure mind, pure consciousness, pure awareness, Buddha nature are all the same thing. You know, in Zen, usually when I talk about mind, I think I'm digressing here a little bit, but bear with me. When I talk about mind, I'm usually referring to the psychological mind, the patterns of thought, the consistent patterns of thinking that go on. And that concept mind is simply an abstraction. So somebody like Ramana would say, without thought, there is no mind. It's only a word that represents this very complex flow of stuff. Okay? But if you read Zen literature, especially the Zen literature of like from Bodhidharma and the six patriarchs through China and Japan, they use mind in the sense of the pure mind, Buddha mind. What I would call pure consciousness, they would just simply call mind. But they also refer to the psychological mind. But so you could think of pure mind as being the power of manifestation of pure awareness, because somehow that which is totally empty gives rise to all of this. That power of creation is the true mind. And that's your true being. It's both. It is not one or the other. It's not absolute or relative. In Zen, you would hear them say, there's no difference between a Buddha and a deluded person. They are of the same substance. They both originate from the same place. Your true being has never gone through forms. It had no beginning. It has no end. It will never end. It has no shape. It has no color. It has no gender. It has no beliefs. It's not located anywhere. It is not a place in space or time. This is, in fact, what you are experiencing right now. But we have just been conditioned to project upon that pure experience the illusion or false assumption of a world functioning independently with objective events taking place. This is what Buddha meant by no self. Nothing you experience has inherent existence. It is all inherent existence is a projection of the psychological mind. There's not even a need to purify your mind. That would assume that you were impure to start with and had to become pure. You only need to recognize that you always were that you always were the Buddha. It is a realization, not an attainment. And on that note, I think I'll track this a little bit closer so I can look at the questions and say good morning and good afternoon and good evening to everyone. And sip on my tea. No, I don't have my thing with me. I didn't bring it with me. So, hello, Roberto. Viva la Argentine. Yes. Yeah, it was a great moment. It was a great moment. I saw the pictures from the big square with the obelisk in Argentina. It was absolutely packed. And then a friend in Miami Beach sent me a picture of the park and the whole street area, which was completely blocked off by this little cafe right near where I used to live in Miami Beach. It's all Argentine. And the whole place and the park and everything was just absolutely packed. I was there in 2014 when they lost to Germany. But so anyway, it was a great moment. Hello, Rosario. Also in Madrid, Robbie in Romania, Crispin in snowy Lucerne, Switzerland. Yeah, can't get any more beautiful than that. There's Ava in Poland, Liza, Ida Catherine, hello. There's Carl in Ireland, John Watson in Scotland, Scott Wendell, hello to you, Sally, IGP, yeah, good to see you, Sally. Kimberly, hello, Kimberly, good afternoon to you. There's David and Elaine, Dale Wiggins in Boston. There's Sally. Hi, what is meant by just being in the absolute? And can you give an example of when this happens? No, I can't. So what you want the absolute cannot be thought of. It's like trying to conceive of infinite space. Try to do it. Or even to form a thought of empty space. You can't do it. No thought can grasp that which is formless. It is beyond all forms. And that's what the absolute points to. Right? Remember, the absolute isn't a thing. Don't let yourself turn it into some object of the mind, right? Some conceptual object. Like there's an absolute, like it's a state. It isn't. Okay? So when you say, how do I be in the absolute? I would say, how do you be in space? You just are. You can't get out of it. So we have this idea of ourselves, and that idea is identified with the form, the body. And then we think of the absolute, of this, as some kind of rarefied special state that we're going to arrive at. And there's many spiritual traditions that believe that it is a result of cultivating compassion, cultivating mindfulness, cultivating just more nuanced, more subtlety, more patience, over long periods of time. And then you earn merits and you're reborn, and every birth you progress and the like. This is the opposite. This is not the view of Zen and Advaita Vedanta, which is you've never been that. It is not an attainment. It's an awakening. Oh, I never was anywhere other than that. I've never been anything else other than the absolute. How could I be? It's either true or it isn't. And the idea that it isn't, that it's an attainment, that is all there is to karma. Without that thought, there is no karma. Where are you going? It's like me asking you to get up and walk over to yourself. You can't. You're already there. But this is the most difficult thing for the conceptual mind to grasp. No. It's over there, right? I've got to do something. I need to attain something. I need to grasp something. You don't. You're already that. Now your mind will go, but if I'm already that, I should have, I should have a lot of money. Everything should come easy to me, or I should be walking on water. I should be a Buddha. I should be experiencing enlightenment. Well, that means that enlightenment is some kind of has certain characteristics. It doesn't. This is enlightenment. Are you not aware? That's it. That's all there is to it. And the realization of that is the awakening. And it's just a realization. It's not an attainment. And so you can't get out of the absolute. Can you get out of the truth? Even if you believe something that's completely false, it doesn't change the truth. If you completely believe things about yourself that aren't anywhere near true, it does not change what the truth of you is. And so the practice, for lack of a better word, isn't an attainment. It isn't a refinement. It's a recognition. And there's enough of a recognition in you already, or you wouldn't be here. So now what it is sorting out the wheat from the chaff. All the places where the habits of our mind have been, I'm not that, I've got to get to it. And so you'll find yourself, I'm practicing to become a Buddha. I'm meditating, or I'm tapping to achieve something. Right? And you go, wait, there's nothing to achieve. I'm already that. Then the psychological mind would say, well, if you were that, and they give you this nice long checklist, which are all the things that people have told you that enlightenment is supposed to be. Oh, if it's enlightenment, it's going to be like this. And there's, angels and perfect bliss, emotional bliss. It's going to be, everything's just going to be wonderful, right? And so you go, well, that's not my experience. I'm experiencing all this other stuff, right? Look at the nature of experiencing itself. That's the light. Without that consciousness, there is no experience. Bring the attention to the consciousness that makes all experience possible, and you are in the light. That is the light of truth. To recognize that that is the absolute is the enlightenment. That's the Buddha. That's the true Buddha, not a historical figure, but that recognition of the truth. That's the true Christ, not the historical figure, but the recognition of the oneness with the Father. So you're already there. And that's the whole practice, if you can call it that. It's not even a practice. You don't have to practice being you. But there is the need to purge from our minds the idea that you've ever been anything else, that you are a form, that you were born here, that you're this old, that you're this gender, you've had this life, or all of these past lives. None of it's true. All of it is a projection of the mind. There was no history. There were no past lives. There's no future. There's only this moment. And the constant generating of experience, of which you are the source. Does that help, Sally? Or did I go too far? Yeah. Sometimes I think I might have gone a little bit too far. If I have, please tell me. I'll back up. Scott Wendell. I have some logical concepts that point to no independent body, but belief will take something more. Up to this point has been the realm of applied psychology. Crossing that line into a perspective where you don't believe you are the physical body seems like a significant step towards liberation. Until then, there's lack hard to disbelieve. So far, I can only accept I am not my thoughts. Well, that's a great start, right? So, what is it that allows you to even consider that as a possibility? Because for most, it isn't. For most, I am the body. Period. End of story. There's not even any consideration otherwise. The consciousness, intelligence, thoughts, self-awareness are all functions of matter, which means when matter ends, they end. When this body dissolves, you dissolve. There's nothing left of you. So look at what is it that makes me recognize that this is true, at least enough to keep pursuing it. And then noticing that there's a whole lot of momentum, right, behind this idea that I am the body and I am this form, I am my thoughts. Right? Now, there's something that's watching, is quite aware of both of those, isn't it? So put your attention there. Right? Don't fight the mind. Don't fight these patterns of thought. And certainly don't get into a debate with them and try to convince them or reason your way out of it. You can't reason this because the psychological mind, by its very nature, is dualistic. It takes a premise and then draws conclusions about it. And it will only let go of this premise to grab another one. But what I ask you to do is to let go of all premises. So the only thing that's left is something that isn't a premise. It isn't derived. It didn't come from somewhere. It's just here, and there's nothing you can do about it. And now that becomes a place outside the mind that can then begin to inform it. And that place outside is, of course, your own being. Because no matter, I can get you to give up everything. Everything. Just set everything aside. Empty, empty, empty. But there's still something left, isn't there? You. You are still here. I can empty you of everything, but you're still here. This is the process. Empty yourself of it all. Forget what the mind says, and because there's a lot of emphasis on the intellect in our world right now. We think that somehow this is all supposed to make logical, linear sense. It isn't. It is an end run around the intellect. It doesn't mean the intellect doesn't have its uses. Using it in the right way is absolutely essential. Right? So that you're looking to assess whether something is a fact or an assumption. And you will find within the mind that they're all assumptions. And the only fact there is the fact that you are. And every fact can be taken apart to say, oh, there's assumptions here about everything. And you'll find that the essential assumption, the one assumption that all the rest come from is I am the body. That life, existence, consciousness is a material structure. It's an emergent property of the complexity of matters, they like to put it. Although that is an unprovable assumption. It's accepted just because, well, it's got to be that way, right? A complete inability to consider the possibility that consciousness is self-existent. No, it can't be that. Everything is made of these particles. Right? But why not? Why is that as outrageous? Could there not be a substance that is not physical? It has to be rejected from the materialistic point of view because it assumes everything is. So within that context, this cannot even be considered. So take a step back. But yet my experience is nothing but consciousness. I never experience matter. I only experience consciousness. Now, if there is something out there outside of my consciousness, I'm never going to know it. It's not possible to validate that empirically. I can invalidate it subjectively. So, does that help? So, you don't believe you are the physical body, and at least enough to engage in this contemplation. So keep pushing there. Okay, I'm not the physical body. Well, then what am I? I experience what I consider to be a physical body. Is it really physical? Am I experiencing a physical body? Well, if I really contemplate it, meditate on it deeply, I find that no, I'm experiencing a flow of what I'm calling sensations, and I'm assuming those sensations are originating in a physical body. But I don't have any evidence of a physical body. I only have the sensations. So what if, like in a dream at night, all those sensations are not being produced by a physical body, but are being self-produced? Well, at that point, even the word sensation isn't really quite true, because that's tied to the body. And now I'm sitting in another place, another level. It's pure perception. I'm just perceiving, but I'm not perceiving something. It is perception divorced from external existence. So it's a self-generated perception. From there, I can go to what would be referred to as objects of mind. It's just pure mind. This is the 5 skandhas of Buddhism that you can meditate through, and you can pierce all through of them. To your left with nothing but pure, nothing but consciousness. That's all there is. Consciousness manifesting itself. So the substance of the manifestation is consciousness, not a thing. You can see that. I'm hoping if you just ponder a little bit, you'll see that it's an assumption that my sensations are generated by something external. It's an assumption. I don't actually experience that. I only experience the sensations. Now, ponder that. Contemplate that deeply. Puzzle over it. And you'll see that, oh, the idea of a body is only an idea. There's no evidence for it. And the whole thing can begin to just fall away. And suddenly, everything is consciousness, or pure mind, or being, or the Buddha. Is that, am I getting it for you there, Scott? I sure hope so. Tomas, hello from the Czech Republic. Hello, Tomas, good to see you. Crispin, what or which part of me is noticing that timeless me? Well, what could possibly notice the timeless me? Can a time-bound me see a timeless me? So it's not a part of you that is seeing the timeless me. It's the timeless me seeing the timeless me. It's not a part. See how the mind does that? It splits stuff up. Oh, there's this part of me that's witnessing timelessness. It's just a very subtle trap of duality. Only timelessness is witnessing timelessness. Awareness is aware. Consciousness is conscious. Being knows being. Is there something another awareness or something else, right? That's aware of awareness, as if awareness is something that I am looking at? Well, then, okay, then it's just another object in my perception. And I go and I throw that away and I go, okay, well, what's looking at that? What's looking at the timeless, if it's not the timeless? You see how the dualistic mind works. It's looking for an object. You're not an object. What do you look like from a distance of 0? You cannot conceive of yourself. So you are the timeless. You are the now. The power of now is not referring to something that you experience. It is you. It's another word for the self, the now, the infinite, the boundless. Infinite has no shape. It has no form. It doesn't even think of terms of time and timelessness, because it's both. There's no form or experience without time, but time and form are one. They arise together out of the timeless. The timeless manifesting itself in the field of time, which is itself created. And so it is not one or the other. The absolute and the relative are not two. This is the true meaning of non-duality. It's not two. The form you are looking at here right now is the Buddha. The form you look at when you look in the mirror is the Buddha, and it's Crispin. And you could say it's neither this nor that, nor both, nor neither. It's not Crispin, it's not the Buddha, it is the Buddha, it is Crispin, it's not Crispin and the Buddha, it's not Crispin or the Buddha. You see the actual essence, you cannot conceive of it. Thank God you don't have to, because you are it. It's what you are. And eventually the mind just goes quiet. And you don't need to know it. Or more accurately, knowing and being converge into one. My knowingness is my beingness. And that's the virgin birth. That's the timeless birth. That's the birth that doesn't have a beginning. It's not the result of a process. That's the deep significance of the virgin birth. It was not the result of a process. It was a spontaneous appearing. It was as everything actually is. Every thought, every word, every sound, every syllable, every inflection, down to the tiniest thing, is a spontaneous appearing. And in that appearing, time happens and space happens simultaneously. So the thing, the container, the environment all happen at the same time. Does that help? Crispin? John Lucas, hello GP, from a fellow Pacific Northwest neighbor. John, I need the message on the timeless endless now. John, I need the message on the timeless endless now over and over. Peace. Well, we all do. Right? It is a matter of abiding there, just becoming really diligent until the mind can't fool you anymore. The habit patterns in the mind don't drag you in anymore. That's it. You are that already. And your mind just says, no, I'm not. I'm going to get it. No, I'm not at all. Right? Which is pure materialist. Or, yeah, I am. I'm going to get it eventually. If I just meditate more, if I'm more virtuous, if I do the right thing and I get a better, a more auspicious rebirth, if I'm more loving and compassionate, of which, of course, we should do that. We should always be more patient, more compassionate. We should cultivate that. But the true awakening is not a reward for good behavior. Adjust the screen a little bit. I'm sinking down. It's not a reward. It's not the result of a process. It's the realization. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to do whatever I damn well please. No, that's another kind of an ignorance. Because who is it that's doing it the damn well please? Well, that's got to be the egoic mind. So there's a cultivation of morality and character and compassion and patience and wisdom and assessment and thoughtfulness and kindness. But it's grace that brings you to awakening, not actions. That's actually what Paul meant when he said, by grace we are saved, and that not of ourselves. It is not the result of something we have accomplished. Right? If that was the case, it would be an aggrandizement of the egoic mind. It is a complete recognition, a seeing through that the egoic mind never existed. It never had a real objective existence. I believed it into existence. It was always me. I made the world. Facebook, I love you, GGP. I love you too. Jonas. Hey, Jonas, good to see you. Thank you for giving your name. Carl. Hey, GP, how do we truly celebrate our true selves, each other's true selves this Christmas? Overspending, overeating doesn't quite do it for me anymore. Very good. I'm happy to hear that. Well, by the idea that there are others, that there are persons, there are individual beings out there at different levels of understanding. Some enlightened beings, some completely deluded, some really virtuous, good, saintly people, others horrific, almost demon-like, is an illusion. It's a projection. There's no self. There's no person. There's nobody there at all. The only thing that everything that is the manifestation of the self, and there's nothing else. So when we see somebody overeating or overspending, or we see a culture that is obsessed with it, we're only looking at ripples of thought in this infinite ocean of being. Never attach it to there is somebody who's overspent. There's some culture. There's some horrible things going. Never do that, because it's not true. We are purging ourselves from the mistaken belief that there's anything other than the Buddha, than the self, than God, than the I am. No matter how intense it may look to us, no matter how indoctrinated we are into the idea that it's a bunch of beings striving for a particular materialistic ideal or a spiritual ideal, it's all in the mind. It's not true. The most lowly, squiggly worm going through the earth and the most enlightened being in the heaven of heavens are the same. We are simply perceiving the same essence from two different perspectives. There's no difference. What I'm speaking today, because I've had all the questions I've had have been about our absolute being. So I'm speaking in these terms. I might get a question about somebody who's struggling with something or childhood trauma, and I'll handle it differently. But since this is the way the questions are going, I can speak in these terms, right? That it is in the pure absolute, that none of this has ever really existed except in our minds. This is the pure stuff. This is Zen. This is the true Advaita Vedanta that is uncompromising. It is not the various yogic paths or the path of Theravada Buddhism, the progressive path of development and purification. I'm not speaking to that right now. I could, somebody else, I very well might, right? But now I'm not. We're purging ourselves from the idea that there is anything other than the self. Period. From the most inanimate object up to the most animate, from the worst human being to the best. There's nobody there. It is only the self. And the idea that there is somebody who's a sinner or a saint is a projection of the mind. And where's the projection of the mind coming from? So where's the notion of a sinner or a saint that's being projected out there coming from? You. You are the world. You are the source. You are the God principle. You alone. Okay. On a practical level, Carl, you just have to notice that this is the behavior. You're withdrawing all of any energy you're putting into it, either as God, this really sucks, or mindlessly indulging it. And then you do whatever you need to do in the simplest form within your particular world, your particular family or circumstances. Right? You don't just say, screw you, you're all horrible for overeating or overspending, but participate to the degree that you can and then let it go. Just recognize that there's nothing other than yourself. So just be loving, compassionate, present, be the bodhisattva, but don't get attached to any of it. And even the fact you notice you notice the stupidity, the inanity of the way we want to try to celebrate, especially the birth of Christ. It's really quite ironic, but I digress. We don't want to take the arrogant position of looking down on anybody, because there's nobody to look down on. It's only your thoughts. So participate in the most loving, kind way. Give what you want to give, and then let it go. It really becomes a matter of being totally compassionate, totally loving, but not as a means to an end, but as the manifestation of the infinitely harmonious true self, which is nothing but love. Does that help? Tomas, what is heart intuition and how to distinguish it from thoughts? Can intuition be relied upon in the experience of the 3D world? Is intuition where all our choices should come from? Thank you. You're welcome. Well, what is intuition? Intuition, to me, is simply the spontaneous appearing of something, of could be a thought, right, or an image, or a solution to some problem. But the reality of the intuition is it's kind of this mysterious thing that recognizes it as true, as useful, as the right way to go. And without that recognition, the right thought showing up would have zero effect, because, well, no, that's not, it gets rejected. So it's not, it can be experienced through thought. So thought itself is not a problem. Neither is feeling. Neither is just can be sometimes just a sense that doesn't even really have any kind of name to go with it. But the gold is the recognition of it. Now, put your attention on that recognition. Whoa, that's not a thought, is it? It recognizes the thought. It recognizes the feeling. It recognizes the design, the solution, the right way to go. That recognition is the true wisdom. And you see it, you say, okay, I think we should go this way. Oh yeah, that makes sense, and it works. So we call that intuition. But notice it is a spontaneous appearing. This is about spontaneity. Right? This is not about action or inaction. Right? It's not even non-action. In the Tao Te Ching, I often use the term non-action, which is confusing for a lot of people. But I've seen a better translation of what comes out as non-action as being uncalculated action. spontaneous. It is, it's not derived. It's not deliberated. It's not the result of, a bunch of linear steps. It's just a sudden knowing. There's a knowing and the recognition that happens simultaneously. That's intuition. Now, can it be relied on in the experience of the 3D world? You bet your ass it can. I'm doing it right now. When I set up the event, a title comes to me, but nothing else. Matter of fact, before I was doing this, actually, I was watching them give out the trophies for the World Cup. I wasn't thinking about it at all. A couple ideas went by, but none of the ideas that went by actually made it. But when I hit the go live button, when I start talking, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. That's intuition. That's non-action. That's spontaneity. I don't know what my next thought's going to be. Neither do you. You don't know. I mean, you don't know what your next thought's going to be, right? You don't know what the question that's going to pop up in 15 minutes. Right? So you see, it's all happening spontaneously. We come to trust that, right? that it is always that way. It's never, ever anything other than spontaneous unfoldment. When I, after learning how to program computers and coming up with something that earned me a raise, a promotion, and a move from Chicago to San Francisco, gloriously, I was just self-taught. I never knew anything about computers. Right? That's what I learned how to do it from. I took out a book out of the library and I went through it and I did all the stuff. And just a couple of opportunities came up. And after a while, I was making the regular data processing department look bad. So in a political move, they took me in and put me in that department. They really tried to control me, which they couldn't do, just because I'd actually created a position that nobody could replace. Not calculated, by the way. It just kind of happened spontaneously. Well, anyway, I had to learn this other machine. It was a bigger machine. I worked on these little things. This was before PCs, and it was totally intimidating. I was totally lost. I had no experience with any of this stuff. I was doing basic on this one thing, and I was writing some good stuff, and it was useful. And so I had to learn learn a different language. I had to learn a different environment, and I had to learn this computer that was running banks, right? Well, in those days, the manuals were all printed, right? And so, and the manuals for this big machine it's like 8 feet long and 6 feet tall. And I thought, oh, geez. So I started reading the manuals, and the more I read, the loster I got. I was completely confused. I thought, well, that's it. I had my little moment in the sun. I got some raises, but it's over. And I was riding home in the bus, going over the Oakland Bay Bridge, and I got 2 manuals with me. They're this thick, right? And I'm reading them, and I'm going, that's it. My life is over. I'm going to get fired. I'll be back working at a shipping dock somewhere. Because it was all just nonsense. It made no sense whatsoever. As I was sitting there in utter despair, this voice says to me, Greg, it's not about accumulation. It's about unfoldment. Intuition. Bang. I closed that manual. I never read another thing about computers after that. I realized it was the truth, and I completely trusted it. And I went create some industry firsts that experience. I had PhDs. The company I worked for, they were so concerned. They'd invested so much money, and it all depended on what I did worked, and nobody understood what I was doing. And they hired 3 PhDs to come in and look it over without me knowing it. And the verdict was, we have no idea how he came up with this, but this is brilliance. I have no idea how he came up with it. I still don't. Except that I trusted that. I trusted that feeling that said, now this is the way to do it. And I did it. So this is not impractical in our 3D world, is it? Right? Yes. The Buddha mind can write software. It can make art. It can dance. It can hug. It can raise a family. Right? They're not mutually exclusive. As long you start seeing yourself as not separate, that you are the Buddha mind, that every thought you have is the Buddha mind, that every experience is being experienced by the Buddha mind, and let go of Tomas, which is just a concept, and you find that you are the Tao, you are the flow, and that the infinite intelligence is your infinite intelligence. It's not a personal possession. It's more that Tomas is a possession of it, and not the other way around. So it is mystical as hell, but it's also incredibly practical. It meets the needs at right where they are, and is capable of meeting any need at any level of consciousness. It is gloriously loving and complete. So, does that help, Tomas? Trust it. Believe me, you won't be disappointed. Hello, Jerry's. Yeah, congratulations to Messi. Yeah, it's great. He so deserves it. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's a big deal. There's All Life. Hello from Arizona. Well, I'm in Arizona right now. All Life. I'm in Tempe at my son's house. Brett. Hey, great game. A lot of soccer fans out there. I'm sorry. Football. Real football. David, GP, you look like you're in an interrogation room. I hope the evangelicals haven't got a hold of you. That's funny. There's actually a picture up here, but you can't see it in here. I'm just sitting on the couch in my son's office. He works at home too. So no, they haven't cornered me yet. Awake, not woke. What motivates us to insist on identifying with this puny human form and deny what we intrinsically know, deeply know as our true self? Nothing really motivates you. And I would highly urge you that rather than say, well, why is this always happening? You just go, okay, one moment at a time, right? Rather than trying to make this universal strategy, right this moment. Right? Every single moment brings an opportunity to reaffirm who you really are and deny who you're not. Every single moment. Okay? So don't turn it into this overarching thing, but right this moment, what's appearing to me right now? And then, as always, bring the attention back to the consciousness that is aware of whatever happens to be arising. And remember, the consciousness that is aware of the puny human form isn't the puny human form. It's not touched by any of that. Right? Whether it appears as a glorious insight or a huge setback, do they not both appear in the same empty space of consciousness? So where are you? Do you actually need to fix the puny human? Do you need to fix the mind that keeps asserting that you are that? Or do you need to just see it for what it is, a flow of thoughts that isn't true and doesn't actually touch you? You're the consciousness in which it's appearing. You're not in any of the content. This is the great insight. And so now you don't have to worry about it. What motivates to insist? Nothing motivates you. You're the consciousness. And nothing motivates the flow of thoughts that keeps affirming the separate self. There's nothing motivated at all. It's just a flow. The river's headed in this direction. That's it. The river isn't motivated to go in that direction, right? So we don't want to animate it. We don't want to give it an entity like there's something fighting us. If we do that, We will create the experience of something fighting us, but we'll be the ones that did it. You'll have, it's like the artist which paints a horrible picture of the devil and then is afraid of it. You did it. Right? Through ignorantly, of course. We don't do this on purpose. But this, when I'm getting you to break this down, it's like, oh man, right? There isn't anything motivating this to happen. It's just a habit that, because I haven't really questioned it, it's been sustained. Well, now I'm going to question it. What is this flow? It's just a bunch of thoughts. Is it actually touching me? Or is it just moving through me? So the only one you have to concern yourself is the belief that somehow there's something that's influencing you. There's nothing out there influencing you. Stay here as the consciousness that is aware of all the opposites. And then the opposites you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about virtue and sin, right? Or the good guys and the bad guys. You don't have to worry about them anymore because they're both made of the same substance being witnessed by the same spaciousness, the same empty fullness of infinity. This is where you're free and nowhere else. Any indulgence, any engagement with it, any attempt to fix it or change it, and it's got you. It's alien. It's the demons got you by the leg, right? But it's all you. You are free. You are now free. You are now the Buddha. And the Buddha is not motivated by anything. It's just what is. You don't need to be motivated to be. You just are. There's motivation comes and goes. It's just appearing here on the screen. Is this helping you awake, not woke? Is this kind of turning your attention in the right direction to come back to that which is aware of it and see that it's not affected by this any more than the screen in the theater is affected by the movie that's on it. You can have war, you can have fire, you can have floods, but there'll be no bullet holes, there'll be no burning, it won't be wet. That's you. That's the real you. Bring the eye home to that. And then you won't be concerned about any of the rest of it. You'll see through it instantly. No struggle. No practice. Bam. Sudden awakening. It's the Zen way. Sally says, yes, G, thanks, you're welcome. Hello, Peter, everyone and everyone attending this beautiful satsang. Much love to you. No thing. Well, hello, no thing. Hello, GP. I have two questions. One, why the mind always have the upper hand in everything? If we are truth, why the mind had its way always? Two, how to check if you are correct path or not? Well, the first one is the mind. See, notice that when you're saying this, when you are saying that, you are imagining that the mind is an entity, a thing. It's motivated, it's sentient, and it's working against you. It's not. It's not true. Believing that it's true makes us experience it as if it were an entity, because we are unaware of the power of our own minds, of our own consciousness. What the psychological or the impure or the carnal mind is habitual patterns of thought, nothing more. They have no motivation, they have no self, they have no consciousness, they have no sentience, they actually have no being. They're just patterns of thought, nothing more. Like a cloud in the sky is just a temporary condensation of moisture that becomes visible and then disappears. That's all thoughts are. So there's nothing that has the upper hand. Now, if I believe that it's some kind of an entity and I say it has the upper hand, I will experience it as having the upper hand, not realizing I'm the author of that belief and the creator of that experience. So put it aside. Mind has no power. It doesn't even have a real existence. It is just this flow of thoughts. So it doesn't have a hand at all to be upper or lower. It's only your belief. Your belief is all powerful. So let go of the belief that there is a mind that has its way. And suddenly you'll experience that it's you that's having its way. And you've projected your power onto something that only exists in your imagination. So, how to check if you're on the correct path or not? Is the path leading towards the direct, spontaneous recognition of your being, or is it a path in which the truth or awakening or enlightenment is the end result of some process? If it's the path is the latter, you're not on the true path. Now, for many people, that's part of their experience. What I'm speaking now is the ultimate. It's the Zen approach. It's the Advaita Vedanta approach. It is not a compromise. There's no concession. Right? Now, I could for somebody else, and I don't really know you, so hopefully this can sink in. It feels like it can. For somebody else, I may just give them some kind of a meditation practice, just being with the body, letting go of certain ideas, coming closer and closer to an inner experience. But ultimately, that path is simply the way I've kind of watered it down to get to the ultimate path, which is a direct personal realization of the knowledge of the self, which can't be of true knowledge, Buddha knowledge, the absolute knowledge, not conceptual knowledge. So that's how you check. Right? The path is not a path. Right? Get up and walk over to yourself. There's no path for that. So it's a recognition of what you already are. And that process means you begin to realize how you have been investing mind and experience and others with the power and manifestation, and then believing that it's objective and coming from them. This is the great delusion. This is the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Take a bite of that, and suddenly it's all objective. Right? It's all happening out there. And in that moment, you are no longer in the garden. You are somewhere else. Wow. Does that help? Nothing? Hopefully I haven't gone beyond where you are, but it doesn't feel that way. It does feel like through your questions that you see yourself as not the mind, but can't figure out why the mind seems to have so much authority. It doesn't, in fact. Right? This is a realization. So we don't take its authority away because it never had it. We recognize it never had it in the first place. And this purifies mind to let go of this idea that there are these objective entities out there that are stealing our peace, stealing our happiness, stealing our joy. Does that help? Lieutenant Zen, LT Zen, LTZ, is there a mind? Yes and no. We first have to define what mind is, right? And excuse me for a minute. I've got to get some water. I'm really parched. We'll mute myself, and I will be right back. And then I will answer that question. So stay tuned. It's a cliffhanger. What is mind? Alrighty, I'm back. My leg had fallen asleep too, so I was limping around here for a bit, trying to get it back alive. So, is there a mind? Oops, shut the door. Shut the door so we're private in here, so the evangelicals don't overhear me. Okay, what is mind? There's two ways of looking at it, and let's start with the common way, which is thoughts. Mind is a word that has been given to the actual experience of thinking, right? So put mind aside, right? The word mind, which has, the moment we create a word, it tends to collect all sorts of ideas and concepts around us. Oh, this is mind, it's psychological mind. The conscious mind, the unconscious mind, the superconscious mind, all sorts of things like that. Just put all of that aside. And what was the phenomena, the thing we actually experienced that we gave the name mind to? Well, it's thinking, isn't it? It's just this flow of thoughts. We all experience the flow of thoughts, right? So this flow was given a name, an abstraction. So we wouldn't always have to talk about the flow of thoughts. We just use the word mind. And then we can see the patterns of the flow of thought and how they operate. So from that definition, mind is not a thing. It doesn't exist as an entity. It is one with thoughts. If there's no thoughts, there's no mind. Right? They're one. Right? Just like if you don't feel the air going by your face, there's no wind. Right? Wind doesn't exist separate from the motion of air. So from that point of view, we're simply looking at the patterns that thought takes. Now, this is useful because if I think of the mind as a thing that is generating thoughts, I can get myself in a real fisticuff with it. I'm fighting something that appears to be an entity. Well, there's no entity there. So instead, okay, so thoughts are just flowing. Right? But now, thoughts, they're not a thing, right? They're not like, they're like a leaf of a tree, right? Or a piece of dust blowing by in the wind. Right? They don't exist separate from your consciousness of them. So this medium, like fish don't exist outside of the water, right? Take away the water, there are no fish. So if you take away the kind of the medium, the space in which thoughts are appearing, then if you take that all away, what do you have left? Well, you can call that consciousness, or you can call that pure mind. You can think of mind as the space in which thoughts appear, and including the thought of mind, right? The idea of mind. So notice that our experience of thought is happening within a medium. Call that pure mind. You can call it consciousness. You can call it pure awareness. But it's important to see that that pure medium, sitting in the center of that pure medium, is you. You're aware of thoughts. They're not aware of you. You're aware even of the thought of mind. The mind is not aware of you. So at the center of this space, this medium in which all this experience is happening, not just thoughts, but emotions and sensations in all their various aspects, are also happening within this space. That space is the self. That is consciousness. This is the truth when it is just seen as that empty space in which it's appearing. Take out all the content, and it doesn't have any boundaries. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. That's the self. So in that sense, pure mind and the self are one. Pure mind and consciousness are one. Pure awareness, Buddha nature, all one. So that's mind. And you can see it's just a matter of what level you want to talk about it. So there's the important thing is not the word, but seeing what you're referring to. There's this flow of thoughts, but the flow of thoughts is happening within this spaciousness. And all of it is happening in front of you. None of it, even the spaciousness, couldn't be there without you. So at the center of the entire thing is the grand mystery, which is you, your being, your pure, boundless being. Does that answer it for you or anybody else who's interested in that question? I did think that the answer was going to get more elaborate than that, but sometimes it surprises me. It's all for now on that one. Sometimes I think these questions, oh yeah, that's really deep. There's all sorts of aspects. And all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, bing, 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 done. I like that. Like I said, I have no idea what's going to come out of this mouth. Sometimes I'm actually quite surprised. Really? Oh yeah, that's true, isn't it? Hello, John in Ireland. Thanks for introduction. Rama says to just be. Yes, just be. Impossible for the mind because it doesn't exist, but easy as pie for you because you do. The awakened INFJ. Hey there, Janice. Hope to talk and be with you again soon, dear GP. Me too, buddy. Scott, I can consider I'm not matter body, but my experience is so localized. It's logically reinforced. Right. The experience appears to be a particular point, doesn't it? But bear in mind that if it didn't appear like that, there could not be an experience. So experience is defined by a particular point of perception. That doesn't mean you are confined to that point of perception. Now, you can make shifts in perception, can't you? Right? And when you do, your entire universe changes. There's just this sense of being localized in the body. All I can do is encourage you to ask, is it really true? And to go into the actual experience of being localized. And what you'll find is that it is a sensation. There's a sensation of perceiving, of having an experience of a point of perception. And then there's an assumption that there's a me, a form, in a place that's having that. Now, you have a dream at night, you have a completely different world you're sitting in, a completely different point of perception, but none of it's there, is it? Neither is that true in the waking dream. None of it's there. And so it is an assumption of being localized. And of course, because the mind is dualistic by nature, it needs to have a place. It needs to think in order for particular patterns of thought to happen. They have to have a reference point, which is a place in space and time. Okay? So the idea of being timeless and dimensionless is inconceivable. So what you actually are is inconceivable. So it will be, to use your words, logically reinforced. Yes, because the mind's going to be insisting on place. Okay? But it doesn't make it true. It can insist all it wants. You are not in space and time. There is no space and time outside of the objects. No body, no space. No brains, no headache. It's the kind of thing that you have to kind of take the position that what you're perceiving intuitively is really true. And again, if you weren't perceiving it intuitively, if you didn't know on some level it was true, you wouldn't be here asking the question. Right? But it does become now a conflict between our very ingrained patterns of thought and our own insight, which is actually true. They can't both be. This is where we grow in grace, we grow in power, we grow in enthusiasm, we're exercising our spiritual muscles. We have a nice big spiritual biceps, right? Big guns. Scott, you are on the verge, my friend. Rosalind, hello from Paso Robles, California. Hello, Rosalind. Thank you for these satsangs. Wisdom without being punitive. This has been supporting me to discern between the aligned yes versus the empowered no's. Ah, very nice. And being able to observe instead of choices, it just becomes an expression of free will that wells up from within. Yes, it's even beyond free will, right? Once you see the truth, I mean, what else are you going to do, right? It's not like it's free will, but there is the freedom. We are so free, we can choose bondage. We can create bondage, but mostly we do it out of ignorance. Nobody consciously chooses, hey, I think I'm going to do this. It's going to bind me hand and foot and I'm really going to suffer. Yeah, sign me up. Nobody does that. We do it ignorantly. We think something is going to bring us some reward or some payoff, which is why we do it. And then it doesn't. And we wonder why, what happened, which is good. We should. We suffer over that. We should wonder why that happened. But most of the time we draw the wrong conclusion because we don't realize that what we're suffering from is not the circumstances, but our attachment to form. And so, yeah, as you grow, you get the power to say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. And you know what that is inside, intuitive. There's a conviction. Yes, I know what is right for me, what is the best path in this moment. And you act out of it unapologetically. But notice that even that knowing isn't, at that point, it's like it's beyond choice. I'm not saying, abandon free will or choice or anything. It's beyond it. Because you see the truth. You see the truth, you do it. It's simple as that. You don't really even choose it. So, yeah, it's really quite a beautiful thing. But it can also be seen as the ultimate of free will. I am really free to choose, and you are. And that's a big step, actually, for a lot of people, that they're not being oppressed. They're not being forced into position. They're not being forced to conform. I can exercise the freedom to say, no, I don't want that. I want this instead. It's an enormously powerful and important place to get to. And probably need to get there before you can go beyond it. Because there is a place beyond it. That is beyond right and wrong. It's beyond free will or predestination. It's beyond all the opposites. It's pure truth. Thank you, Rosalind. Rosalind Good Vibes. What a great name. Namaskar. ME23. Jerry, can lucid dreaming help with awakening? No. Only if you look at it in terms of dreaming in which I appear to be consciously participating. Right? But it's still a dream. The only thing that leads to nothing leads to awakening, right? Awakening is not the end result of any process. So nothing leads to it. There is no action you can take, no practice you can do, no meditation you can engage with that will lead to it, because it's already the truth. I cannot make you anything other than you are. So there are no paths. Zen, they call it the gateless gate. the imaginary obstacles. It is only our belief that we are not that. That's it. That's the whole of it. So there can be a lot of positive and useful experiences, and I don't deny any of them. No experience can awaken you, because awakening is not a thing. It is not an action. It is not something that happens. There is no path. There is no awakening as an action. Realization is something else altogether. It is a realization. Oh, it's always been true. Now, one could think of that as something that results, but from a practice or a path, but it's not really true, because that which wakes up, in fact, was never asleep. It is the ultimate enigma. Awakening is simply awake to itself. And you find it was never asleep in the first place. You're already awake. Your mind just keeps telling you you're not. So practice lucid dreaming if you want to, but it has nothing to do with awakening. It's a different recognition altogether. Let's see. Patricia, good to see you. The City of Angels, and you're the head angel. Soranable, hello from Ireland. Hello to you. I think you may be new. Colleen Kelly, I think you're new too. After spending 28 years in a 12-step group, I see now that that is another false identity. Of course, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a person. I know the body has an allergy. Can you speak to this? Thanks. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. The whole 12-step programs, I've seen mixed things as to whether they're effective or not. For some people, it's very effective, and they need the camaraderie. They need to start by recognizing that it's out of control. And I totally agree with that this something has taken me over, and I what can I do about it, right? And even that recognition and the willingness to do it is a huge insight, and that's coming from someplace else. Something wakes up that even chooses that as a way to get free. And so how can I possibly argue with the validity of that? But yes, even going through the 12-step program and you still introduce yourself as I am an alcoholic, that's an identity. You're not really free from it. And the sense of the one who got addicted, which is human nature, by the way. There's nothing punitive about it. We all have addictions. It's the nature of the nervous system. We live in a world that does nothing but more than foster addictions. So there's no personal flaw. There's no personal criticism of anyone. But you're not that. You never were. Right? Again, all addictions are the result of conditioning. And our conditioned patterns in the nervous system set us up to become very attached to certain behaviors and things that bring a sense of relief. So even an addiction isn't really the problem. It's just a solution that creates more problems. It brings a sense of temporary relief, but has long-term negative consequences. That's what it is. And so it's the addiction isn't the problem. The pain that it's addressing is the problem. So you don't ask why the addiction, you ask why the pain. And underneath that, there's that sense of the person. Now, speaking about it from this perspective, for most people who are in a 12-step program or are wrestling with something like that, it would be premature to do that, to speak this kind of non-dual language to somebody who's struggling with something like that. I don't think it would help for the most part. Rarely it might, right? But it would be pretty rare. They need different kind of support to get through that. But as you're seeing here, you're saying, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a person. I see you've already gone beyond that, right? That you have come to see that the alcoholic, the addictions, all of the behaviors were not a person. They were the conditioning. On our conditioning, we project the sense of it being a person. We give what in fact is just the functioning of the nervous system, and we make it a self. And then identify with it. So now I'm a person. I'm an alcoholic. I'm whatever, I'm brilliant, right? I'm a success. I'm a failure. All of those are conditioned patterns that we project a sense of a self on. There's no self there. So no, you're not a person. Recognizing the action, the habit energy of the conditioned body which is also the conditioned mind and conditioned emotions, to recognize it as such is to have some distance from it. And that recognition empowers us to basically kind of go through the struggles when it feels like it's so demanding you can't possibly turn it down. It allows us to get through that and get beyond it until all of our dependencies have fallen away. Recognizing conditioning as conditioning is a huge step. Recognizing that I have projected a sense of self on it is a bigger step. And I'm recognizing that I've never been that. I've always been the pure, untouched, innocent, unaddicted self. Because the self cannot be addicted to anything. You're not the person, right? And so even then you can begin to realize that conditioning itself and the body are only concepts. There's not a body that is addicted. That too is only in the mind. And you can take this even further than you already have. Oh, that's just a thought that I have believed into existence. That doesn't exist either. It's purely a creation of the mind. So I am right now completely and totally free. I have never been touched. I don't have to recover because it was never me in the first place. No convalescence. No, I can't remember the name of it now. But none of that. Thank you for bringing that up, Colleen. Colleen Kelly. Well, that sounds Irish. Maybe you're in Ireland too. So thank you really very much for sharing that. I am, says me. You are, says I. Creative Revolution. Good evening. Listening from my taxi home. Left my social earlier to get to Satsang. Very good. Thank you, Susanna. Wonderful, says me. Golden Ghee. I think you're new too. So glad to be here. I recently found you and you've helped me a lot. Oh, so glad. Question. How can I get my life together? I have a trauma of holding many threads, not committing to any one path, even one decision. It's destroying my life and relationships. How can I get it together? Well, start by recognizing that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not experiencing anything other than the mixture of your spiritual desires, your spiritual aspiration, your desire, your natural human desire for a healthy, safe, functioning life, and all of the conditioned patterns and stuff that got laid on you throughout your life when you didn't know any better, that are in conflict with it. So you just notice that there's all sorts of conflicting feelings. I want to reach for something else says no. One foot on the gas, one foot on the brake, right? And recognize this is the human condition. It's not a personal flaw on your part. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. If you look around, this is what everybody experiences, right? So, okay. So it's not like I'm personally flawed. You're not. Right? I can say that with complete confidence. You are, in fact, not broken. The system, your whole nervous system and mind and everything are functioning exactly the way they were designed to function. They're just functioning from a position that you've never been able to scrutinize and determine whether or not this position was valid or not. Okay. So, how do I get my life together? First off, stop trying, because can you feel that in that I don't have my life together? How do I get it together? I don't have it together. There's this affirmation that somehow my life is completely a mess. Right? Now stop, take a nice step back, and go, well, what would it look like if it was together? What is it that I'm reaching for, right? that I don't have? Right? What would it look like if it was together? Right? Now, oftentimes, there's just a feeling that nothing is right. We don't really know what is right, right? Because sometimes it is. It's a very primitive feeling that got put into us as children, right? Because something wasn't right and we knew it. And now as adults, we're projecting it everywhere. This feeling is still there. There may be nothing wrong with the actual circumstances of your life at all, but there's this stuck energy that just assumes it is. I'm not saying that it is. I don't know. I'd have to get to know you better to pinpoint what was going on. But I would start from the point of view that there's nothing wrong with you. Right? That circumstances may not be to your liking, but all of that it happens because our lives, our thoughts, our energy, our experience has not been genuinely scrutinized from the point of view of what's actually true. What are conditioned patterns? What are conscious choices? What do I actually want? What have I been conditioned to think I'm supposed to want? Am I really upset with my life? Or is there just this energy that's upset with every goddamn thing? Nothing's ever right. And anywhere in between, there's a whole continuum in between. So my approach is always to kind of sort through all of the conflicts, all of the inner contradiction, until you're at a place where there's no conflict anymore. Now, you don't need to make anything change in your life to get to that point. And instead just go, okay, I've got a whole bunch of conflicting ideas. I've got desires that are frustrated, right? So I don't think my life is working, right? I don't know how to get rid of it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get rid of all the things that are getting in my way, the self-sabotage and negative thoughts and all sorts of things, right? And you take a big step back and you say, okay, this is what is here. And somehow my whole inner world has gotten into this mess, this fight between yin yang and all sorts of other stuff. Right? And you just drop out of the fight. Okay, this is what it is. Okay? And I don't know what to do with it. Good. So now you just sit back and you watch it. You start with just the feeling comes, oh, I really want this to happen. And you don't act on it. You watch how your mind wants to say, oh, this is a problem. You should be doing this and this. And you can watch all these cascades of thought that are all causing you suffering. And you simply go, okay, that's there. And I'm going to watch it. And maybe some genuine desire, but yeah, that really would be good. And then something else goes, right? And you go, okay, both of those guys are there. I'm not going to argue with either. The answer isn't to try to get rid of this voice. I've tried it. It's not going to work. Okay, so he's here. Let's assume that this voice is there for a reason, maybe even a good one. All right, great. I'm just going to watch. When you do that, you step into a role I call the peacemaker. You don't take sides anymore. And if you don't take sides, there's no conflict. So if I say, my life isn't working, how do I make it work? Then anything that appears to be contributing to your life not working, you will designate as an enemy, as a problem. Now, of course, they're just feelings and thoughts and patterns and stuff that are within you. So they're not a problem unless you say they are. They're just stuff going on. But if I take a position, I turn them into an enemy. Now this is happening. But if they're a natural part of you, even if they're not a pleasant part of you, you can't get rid of them. So you can't get rid of this. The only way you can end the conflict is to stop fighting. Surrender. Little white flag. You guys, whatever. And you can get to this place, the peacemaker, that is equanimous. It's like, okay, all of this is me. All of this is here. I'm not going to take any sides whatsoever. Obviously, I have preferences, but there's this other stuff too. There's this whole energy that for some reason doesn't want me to have that. Okay, maybe it's even right. Okay. this is where you start. Now, it's a wonderful little journey. I call it inner reconciliation. It's a wonderful little journey to take, because you find little by little that the stuff that seemed like it was oppressive and getting in your way was just trying to keep you safe, but it didn't know how to do it because it was stuck in old patterns. You can't force it out of those patterns. What happens when you do that and you step out of the conflict is you begin to create an inner space of safety. And it was the absence of safety that caused the conflict in the first place. It was the absence of safety as children that caused all of our emotional and psychological problems. So if it was the absence of safety that caused, what do you think the solution is? What do you think the cure is? The presence of. And nobody can create that safe space except you. Nobody can do it. I can make a safe space for you, but you're the one that's got to internalize it, because the one that's creating the conflict is you taking a position. It should be like this. What's in the way? There must be something wrong with me. Something wrong with this. Sorry, can you see that? You just go, I don't know what it is. Let it go. Okay, it's gone. You guys do whatever you're going to do. They'll fight it out for a while. But if that essential conflict isn't there, immediately the nervous system begins to detect a shift in the environment, which means you're not fighting, which it feels as a sense of safety. The defenses begin to come down, and very naturally, an inner harmony begins to emerge. Gradually, slowly. Right? But the more you feel it, the more you let go of the conflict. And I mean, it's an upward spiral. So that's how I approach it. Golden ghee. That's a process I call inner reconciliation. I've got whole courses on it. It's actually part of everything every course I teach, even when I don't mention it by name. But it's kind of the underpinning of the whole thing, and it has its roots in the non-dual recognition that you already are the pure and perfect self. So nothing's broken, except our mind keeps telling us it is. Thank you for that. Brent, knowing and being are one. Yes. It's the whole doing thing that seems to get in the way of peace. Thoughts? Yes, it is the belabored, planned, scheduled doing of things, the spontaneous doing, uncalculated doing, is the nature of life itself. So it's just a thought that being and knowing are two different things. So I get a sense of, I'm aware of my being. There's this very subtle sense that there's something that is aware. Where the fact is, if that's the case, then that's the awareness and not what it's the aware of. It keeps going until there's nothing left except awareness. I am awareness. How do I know I'm awareness and knowing? They're the same thing. I can't be aware without knowing that I'm aware. I can't exist without knowing that I exist. Nor can I know I exist without existing. So, they're not two. In an explanation, we talk about Sat Chit Ananda, or being, consciousness, and peace. Right? But in fact, that's just an explanation, because the mind cannot grasp the essential oneness, that knowing is being. My knowing is my being, and I am not something that knows. I am not something that loves. I am love itself. I am not something that is true. I am truth itself. I am what is. And I know that I am what is. So being and knowing are they're only two words as a concession to the psychological mind, in order to point it away from that which is dual to that which is non-dual, which cannot be conceived. Thank you, Brett. Carl, I'm kind of convinced now, GP, that you are the real Santa Claus. Thank you for all the real gifts. Your words continue. I should have grown a big beard, right? I got the white hair, right? I got the whole Santa thing going on. I should grow a big white beard. Except they're so uncomfortable and they smell and they get food. And no thanks. GP is coming to town. Greetings. Golden Ghee. I highly recommend checking out GP's weekly meditation tapping sessions for healing trauma. It's every Wednesday. That's true. Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. Susanna is part of my part of the G team. In fact, she named it, but and yes, every Wednesday I do a thing called it's called the Tapas Monks now. It's changing. The name is changing in the new year. A lot is changing in the new year. Thanks to my team. So Jerry's. Well, I'm having lots of nightmares lately, but I meant lucid dreams, meaning dreams where you know you are dreaming. Yeah. No, I got that. Hello, Mary. Good to see you. And Merck, good evening from Sweden. So mind is a container of thoughts? No, there is no container of thoughts. Mind is a concept. It's a name, right? Is wind a container of moving air? No, in language, it's called an abstraction. It's a word, a single word or a phrase meant to represent something that's much more complex. So if I wanted to talk about the wind, without that word wind, I'd have to take, well, there's this a bunch of flowing, let's see, air molecules that consists of, and it's moving because of the heat. It's moving now, heat and gravity and uneven heating of the surface, and it's moving now. Every time I wanted to talked about the weather, or I can just say wind. But wind isn't a container, nor is there a wind that is blowing like the cloud with the big puffy cheeks. There's nothing blowing the wind. The wind is simply the motion of air. Right? And so we give that motion a name, but because of the way the psychological mind works, it turns that name into an object and makes it fixed rather than what it represents, which is a flow. Right? And the mind can't grasp flows. It needs objects. This, and this. You can't grasp a river. So it names it a river. Well, what's a river? It's a flow of water, right? You can't stick you can't stick your foot in the same river twice because it's never sits still. Right? So that let's see. So no, it's not a container. It's just a word to designate it. Thoughts are just flow. That's it. And like everything else in the universe, they flow in patterns. Right? Everything is a pattern of energy. Right? A little thing here. Right? It's normally on the phone. Just my backpack here. My headphones. They're all flow of energy. Right? This thing I've got on is the hair. It's all energy in motion, right? Nothing is static. And so that's what mind is when it's used as the word to reference thought. If you put your attention on the medium through which thought is flowing, like waves in the ocean, what is that? That's pure mind. That's consciousness. That's reality. That's the self. You got that, Mary? There's a Mary Hendy. Hello, Mary Hendy. I think you're new. Got a lot of new people today. Yay. Thank you, GP. Says nothing. You're welcome. Creative. So what if I feel irritated by someone? How do I practice Buddha mind if someone is totally in their ego and it feels infuriating? The only thing that reacts to ego is ego. Why is it don't say that they're in their ego, right? That's your perception of them being judged by your ego. I'm going to be blunt with Susanna because she knows me well. Right? So why does it feel infuriating? It can only feel infuriating because you think they should be different than they are. You think they're not the Buddha mind. What, you mean the Buddha mind can act like that? Well, there it is. It's either an individual, which means it's separate from all of reality, or this is a manifestation of reality. The most arrogant motherfucker on the planet and Buddha are the same. Okay? God, we don't want to accept that. We want to make everything, it's all the same. If you have a gold statue of a beautiful, elegant, gorgeous, angelic being, and a gold statue of an ugly, grotesque gargoyle, they are both gold. They are made of the same thing. They are a temporary formation of exactly the same substance. In fact, you could melt either one of them down and make them into their opposites, couldn't you? Or you could turn it into 1,000 gold rings, or a chafing dish, or one of those big belts, you know, they give out as the reward for winning the wrestling match. Same gold, same substance. Buddha is the name of the substance, not the historical figure. It's the truth of the substance itself, which is Buddha nature. All things have Buddha nature. That's essential to Buddhism. Recognize that, and you will not be irritated by this guy in the slightest. It'll just go thump right by you. He's the self. Oh, just like me. It will also remove any lingering arrogance. There's nobody but the self, and it will set you free. Hello, Sophie. Good to see you. Oh, Simon. Hello, Simon, on Sophie's chat. Taking the fish analogy, does each school represent similar types of minds or ways of thinking in the sea of consciousness? Yeah, you could see it that way. Yeah. But they all are consciousness, right? We look at the ocean now and we see all the fish and we say they're in the ocean. Right? This is how we perceive it. But if you look at the entire history of the ocean, right, instead of just a little time slice, see the entire thing as this flow. At one point, it was just a primordial soup, right? There was nothing in it. And in fact, it is made up of these tiny littler things, right? So the ocean, or even the primordial ocean, isn't a thing either. It has no self, right? It's empty because it's made of a bunch of other stuff. Well, a bunch of that other stuff coalesced, and some of it just became pure H2O, and some of it came together in these things in organic molecules, and before you know it, over a period of time, the very thing that was the ocean is now still the ocean with things that appear to be in it, but they're not in it, they are it. We've just looked at it, this tiny little time slice here, right? And think, oh, they're in it. No, they're not it. Nobody put them in it. They are it. The ocean and its contents are one. So using that same analogy, the ocean of consciousness and its contents, all the various states of minds and appearances are consciousness. Ah, there we are. My bot. Hello, bot. New adult site, girls 18. Oh, my bots. Is that how's that for you, Simon? Does that work? You begin to see how the mind really breaks things up into objects where there are no objects. The ocean is just this process that's been going on, and part of the process is the life that's in it. And yeah, so it crawled up on the ocean crawled up onto the shore, right, and took the ocean with it. It made this skin. We're what, 80% water? So it made a little bag that it could keep the ocean in. Right? A recyclable bag, and crawled up onto the shore, brought the ocean with it. So it's still the ocean, right? It's still the ocean. It's very funny. Oh, my. Let's see. Thank you as always. Thank you, David and Elaine. Hello from Pakistan. Hello, Facebook user in Pakistan. Lovely. Hi. I love seeing people from all over the world. I really want to get everywhere where all of you are. Right? Just have to have enough people that will show up in any place that I go, and I'm there. And I'm there. So, great advice, says Serena. Well, great. I'm glad. Did G not come back? Not sure what you mean by that, Susanna. I'm here. I'm not in Seattle right now. I'm actually traveling tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll be back in Seattle tomorrow afternoon. Love you too, Faith. I love you too. It was so good to see you yesterday. At first, I didn't even realize it was you because I'd never seen you without the Habib. And there you were in this glorious red hair. It was wonderful, 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 wonderful. So enjoy working with you. Well, look at this. It's not quite 2 hours, and I appear to have run out of questions, which is a good sign. It's a very good sign that minds have gone quiet. There's the ultimate achievement here is not the answer to the questions, but the end of questions. It's the end of questions. How do you get to the end of questions? Well, you're the answer. You are the answer to all questions. Mary, oh my God, GP, you're blowing my mind about the ocean. I see that this is always happening with new species being discovered. Yeah. When you step back and look at it from the point of view of the timeless, you see this infinite unfoldment, this infinite expansion, this infinite transformation that is all of the same essence and substance and origin. And it is not something it's just this endless process of the same thing appearing in an infinite number of forms. So it is the ocean. It is the Big Bang. It is the self. Everything manifests the self. The self is the timeless, the inscrutable, the ineffable, the unknowable. And it manifests itself in time. Not that time exists, and there's the self and then time, and it manifests in there. Its manifestation creates time spontaneously. And the self is always spontaneous. It doesn't plan, because that would imply time. It creates time spontaneously. The self plays jazz. It is improvisational. It is not deliberative. This is your nature, by the way. When I talk about the self, I'm not talking about something out there that we're aspiring to. It's you. You are the self. You are the creative reality. Yes, it was great. Yes, my curly red hair. I am so happy for you. I am so happy for you. It was so great to see that. Is that Faith? I don't remember. I have no idea what she looks like. It's like, oh my God, it is. Oh my God, it is. So joyous. Your curly red hair. Lovely, 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 lovely. Oh, when everybody realized that it was you, Faith, there was so much happiness. People have said to me. Wonderful. All right, all. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Happy holiday, whatever it is you happen to be celebrating. Thanks, GP. I love the creature crawling out of as a bag of sea. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yes, a very Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas for whatever reason. Right? It's just a tradition. It's a fun thing to do. I like to do it. I'll go hang out with my granddaughters. The older one who said, "You're going to be back." I said, "I'll be back by Christmas." "You better be back by Christmas." So I have to leave my inherited grandson here, who we're getting closer and closer with. It's really great. And my son down here. Hopefully, when Alex goes off to college, they'll move closer to me. Of course, I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know where I'm headed. But at any rate, next week there'll be no satsang. So the next satsang will be on the first day of 2023. So if you're not too hungover, those of you who spend the evening in a pub, I will meet you here at this same time and place. Well, not this place, and we will be at it once again. So by all means, send me your questions at gpwalsh.com. Soon I will have questions at omschool.co. That's coming. I'm going to be doing more and more with School in 2023. Thank you all. Hey, Bo, good to see you. And thank you for your kindness in paying for your friends' sessions like that. It's done her a world of. It's an enormous blessing you've done for her. So everybody, enjoy this holiday season, however you may choose to celebrate it. I'll celebrate them all. I'll celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Buddha's Enlightenment Day, Winter Solstice. I don't care. I just like the parties. So I'm totally agnostic when it comes to spiritual traditions. I'll take them all. All right, my loves. So good to see you all. Until next time. Namaste.